You may have seen some social media posts recently that made reference to some Biden administration changes to American mortgage lending practices. And some of those media posts may have led you to believe that lower credit scores would actually get you better mortgage rates. So let's take a look at what really happened and how that might be a bit of a misunderstanding. There's one thing we actually probably do pretty well in America. It's home financing. Our system isn't perfect, but it's better than pretty much anywhere else in the world. In fact, it's so good that we probably over-rely on it to try to fix things, like our current affordable housing crisis. We think that financing might be the answer, but that doesn't always work. Think of college loans and college tuition. With that being said, it's still the case that our current system allows more people, as a percentage of the country, own homes than most anywhere else in the world, with more favorable terms and a better opportunity to begin to build up equity and wealth in those homes. Part of the reason it works so well might be because it involves the government. How does it do that? Well, there's two GSEs, government-sponsored entities. You may have heard of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These two entities basically insure and in most cases purchase the vast majority of loans, home loans that are done in this country. And in order for them to insure and purchase those loans, the people underwriting those loans, private banks, private lenders, have to match their standards and make them conforming loans. So those conforming loans come with a bunch of requirements from the government in order for them to be marketable to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, if you've been following social media for the last couple of weeks since these changes came into effect, you might think due to some posts or some tweets or some interpreted dances on TikTok that now people with lower credit scores are going to pay less for their mortgages than people with higher credit scores. And this is just flat out wrong. However, it's not that hard to end up with that misunderstanding. And here's the reason why. Borrowers with lower scores will pay less now than they would have under the old rules. And simultaneously, some borrowers with higher credit scores will pay more now for their loans over the course of the loan than they would have under the old rules. However, lower credit score buyers will still be paying more for their mortgage than higher credit score buyers. And let's look at some of the technical aspects of this to see exactly why. Now, the changes that were made by the Biden administration were to something called the loan level price adjustments, or LLPAs. And what these are basically fixed set amounts that the government says if a lender wants to participate in this program where Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will insure and probably buy the loan in order to be conforming loans, that one of the rules is you have to use these set differences. The differences are based upon the amount being put down, the percentage being put down on the loan, and then the credit score of the borrower. So let's look at an example where there's two borrowers, one with a 740 score, one with a 640 score, and in both cases, they're putting 20% down. Under the new rules, the base amount, whatever the bank decides is the base amount that they're lending at, for the 640 borrower in that situation, they would have to add 2.5% onto that base amount. So if it was a 4% base amount, the loan would be at 6.5%. For the 740 borrower, they'd have to add 1%. So if the base amount was 4, it would have to be 5% for a difference of 1.5%. That's the difference between the 640 borrower and the 740 borrower. And the 640 borrower is paying more. Their loan is a full 1.5% higher. But the reason there's a misunderstanding is under the old rules, that difference was bigger. So that difference shrank. And how did it shrink? Under the old rules, that 640 borrower, instead of adding 2.5% on to the base amount, would have added 3.25% onto the base amount. And for the 740 borrower, it was less that was getting added on. Instead of adding a full 1%, it would have only added 0.625%. So for the higher credit score, the cost versus the old system is going to be higher. And for the lower credit score, the cost versus the old system is going to be lower, even though it's still more expensive if you have a lower credit score. In practical terms, how do the numbers break out? All right, on a $300,000 loan, over the course of a single month, the 740 borrower will pay $72 extra a month, $860 a year, and $25,806 over the 30 years of the loan. For the 640 borrower, it's going to come out to $156 less per month, $1,874 less per year, and $56,207 less over the course of the entire loan. So yes, the 740 borrower is still paying $299 less each month. So the 740 borrower still gets a cheaper loan on the same $300,000, but the difference between the two is smaller than it used to be. So it does still pay to have a very good credit score, just not as much as it used to. John Burke for Burke & Company, Long and Foster Real Estate Group. If you want any additional details or you want to talk this over, one final note. This doesn't affect 80% of the people that we work with because we work on the Shore Islands where prices are up over $700,000, which is the maximum for conforming loans anyway. We deal almost entirely with jumbo loans. But if you want to talk about financing, our series that we're doing right now, please reach out to us, and we like to talk about anything real estate. Thanks.